Wow, wow, wow. What does $156 trillion even look like? It's hard to imagine that, but that is literally what the American total assets are essentially for the households. It's incredible. It's an incredibly high number. It's well above the rest of the world too, as well. And just it's very powerful to think about how much wealth we have in this country, especially when a lot of the media and the news and other things can be negative about this. As far as hitting new debt numbers and whatnot. But flip that on its axis too, and what we have here is again tons of wealth. I'm going to break that down for you real quick and kind of what that means in a broad stroke of things, and hopefully this makes sense. So what we're looking at is assets here. With that $156 trillion, they've obviously increased significantly over time too, as well, because these are things like real estate, equities, mutual funds, so stock market essentially too, bonds, pensions, durable goods, private businesses, etc. All those components make up what is considered to be assets here, and it's kind of neat to see how it's broken down by generation too, as well. Baby boomers control about half of it. So about half of that net worth, all baby boomers. Silent generation, which is one above the baby boomers, they control about 13% of that net worth. Generation X controls about 30% of that net worth, and then millennials about 6 or 7. So what's interesting is there's a lot of net worth here that's going to be transferred as well too, because again, real estate moves downward and or is sold. Equities, there's all kinds of inheritance stuff when it comes to your retirement accounts too, as well. 401ks, IRAs, Roth, etc. There is a wealth transference. You're never going to time it right, spend all your money down to the T. To the day you pass away, essentially, if you hold these assets, but you can get pretty close sometimes. However, there's a lot of, again, just there's so much net worth here. It's really, it's hard to wrap your head around it too. So that's the breakdown of it too, as well. Now, stack that against the liabilities, which again, this is the doomsdayers of the world essentially looking at this too, as well. But the liabilities are only, and I say only, about a little over $18 trillion. So we have 157 trillion of assets, and then we have 18 trillion of liabilities and debts. The difference there is going to be how much wealth essentially there is. Now, when you look at that and you stack it against our country, essentially our national debt, sure, there's a few things you can compare it to, such as debt to GDP is a popular reference as far as how we're doing, so how much tax revenue we're collecting. But just again, real simple math here. You take the total net worth. There's going to be some taxes due on that in some way, shape, or form. Yes, there are strategies with the stepped up basis and some creative stuff you can do, but there are taxes due on the bulk of that. So if that tax rate is only 15 or 20%, let's say it's called all capital gains, there is plenty of assets to cover the liabilities essentially inside the country with some excess. So that's why when you see the news and you see the headlines and the clickbait stuff saying that we have a problem, don't let it scare you. You keep investing in assets. The world goes round. People go to work. People pay their tax every day too, as well. There are motivated people, younger generations too. And this is why you have to stay invested always throughout your life, and you have to get comfortable with it, because that is a lot of wealth. And a portion of it's yours because you can do stuff that's super simple, like just contribute to your 401k, and you can get a share of that. You can buy a primary home at some point in your life too and get a share of that. Open a Roth, fund it, etc. So you can do some real simple things to capture your slice of that American net worth there, and it only takes a few minutes. Hopefully this helps a little bit when it comes to the assets, liabilities, and just the debt and all the headlines you guys see out there as well too.